Did you know that foreign investors are quietly funding lawsuits in American courts through a practice called third-party litigation funding? Shadowy overseas funders are paying to sue American companies in our courts, and they don't pay a dime in U.S. taxes if there is an award or settlement. They profit tax-free from our legal system, while U.S. companies are tied up in court, and American families pay the price, to the tune of $5,000 a year. But there is a solution. A new proposal before Congress would close this loophole and ensure these foreign investors pay taxes, just like the actual plaintiffs have to. It's a common-sense move that discourages frivolous and abusive lawsuits and redirects resources back into American jobs, innovation, and growth. Only President Trump and congressional Republicans can deliver this win for America and hold these foreign investors accountable. Contact your lawmakers today and demand they take a stand to end foreign-funded litigation abuse.
Out here, it's not only the amazing views, but the way time stretches out a little longer. How laughter bellows louder among friends, and how the breeze hits just right at the summit. With All Trails, you can discover and experience the best of nature, with over 450,000 trails worldwide and navigation right at your fingertips. Find your outside with All Trails. Download the free app today and find your next outdoor adventure.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Doors closing.
Morning, Mason.
Hey, you're just in time for the morning floor show.
Oh no, what's going on down there?
There's a guy down there serenading the train. He's got a karaoke machine, like full-on mic, amp, and backing track.
Okay, but credit where it's due. That's commitment.
He even brought a fog machine. There was a cloud by the doors when I got in. I thought the train was on fire.
It's giving Smoky Basement Prom in 1994. Do you think this is a flash mob, or like, is he filming something?
Honestly, at this point, I assume half the people on this train are in some kind of performance art project, and we're just extras.
This is Tales from the Blue Line by Auditory Anthology.
Well, speaking of dramatic turns, I got a story for you today.
Oh, is it another my coworker once saw a ghost during a shift change kind of story?
Sort of. But this one came from someone I used to work with in Texas. She swore it really happened.
All right, I'm listening.
It's about a patient in a coma. Hadn't spoken in years. Then one night he sat up and started talking about the future.
Please tell me the fog machine guy isn't involved.
Not unless he moonlights as a time traveler.
Night shift at Pinehurst Memorial was usually slow, and Dana, a seasoned nurse with a dry sense of humor and a deep love of vending machine coffee, was fine with that. She liked the stillness, the low hum of machines, the way the hospital at 3 a.m. felt like it existed outside of time. Most of her rounds were routine, checking vitals, adjusting IVs, making sure patients weren't tangled in their sheets or sleepwalking into supply closets. And then there was room 4A. No one really liked being assigned to room 4A, though no one could explain why. It wasn't haunted, it wasn't cursed, it just felt off. Too quiet, too cold, like the room was holding its breath. Inside was Thomas Bellamy, mid-60s, long-term coma patient. No visitors, no family, no medical changes in 5 years. He was originally brought in after a sudden cardiac arrest. They revived him, stabilized him, but he never woke up. And yet he endured. No decline, no improvement, just static. Dina had gotten used to him. She'd say hi when she came in, talk a little while she checked his vitals. Sometimes she'd read the headlines out loud. She didn't know if he could hear her. Didn't really matter. It was part of her rhythm. That night had been like every other. Rain tapping on the windows, lights low. She finished her rounds and ducked into 4A for a quick check. "Evening, Mr. Bellamy," she said, tugging on gloves. "It's just me again, the coffee junkie with cold hands, nothing new to report. Still no decent snacks in the break room. Still no flying cars." She moved to adjust his sheets, then checked his monitors. Normal, steady, unchanged. She was halfway to the door when she heard it. "It's gonna happen tomorrow." Dana froze. The words were low, raspy but clear. She turned slowly. Mr. Bellamy was sitting upright, his eyes wide open, staring straight at her. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She'd worked at Pinehurst for 10 years, seen patients code, flatline, seize, crash, and this moment scared her more than all of them. "Mr. Bellamy?" she whispered. He blinked slowly, like someone waking from a nightmare. "The river," he said, "at 2:14 p.m. Then he slumped back against the pillow. The monitors beeped steadily. No alarms. No irregularities. He was still breathing. But he was out cold again. Eyes shut, unresponsive, like nothing had happened. Dana stumbled back a step, adrenaline pumping. She looked at the door, then back at him. Had she imagined it? A trick of exhaustion? But no, she heard him. She saw him. He'd spoken to her. And now he was gone again. Dana didn't finish her shift. She tried, grabbed a coffee, paced the hallway, even checked in with another nurse to talk herself down, but her hands kept shaking. Every time she passed room 4A, she expected him to be sitting up again, whispering something else cryptic into the air. She finally told the charge nurse she wasn't feeling well and headed home early, claiming a stomach bug. The moment she stepped outside into the rain-soaked parking lot, the question she'd been avoiding slammed back into her brain. It's going to happen tomorrow. The river. At 2:14 p.m. She replayed the words over and over as she drove, windshield wipers squealing against the glass. She hadn't even known Bellamy could speak. She wasn't even sure he still had the muscle control to sit up. But he had. For all 5 seconds he was awake, and he'd said something very specific. And then he vanished back into the stillness like it never happened. When Dana got home, she didn't sleep. Instead, she pulled out her laptop and started searching. News articles, hospital records, anything she could find on Thomas Bellamy. There wasn't much. He'd been admitted in 2018, no next of kin, no criminal record, worked in logistics, lived alone. It was as though he'd slipped into a coma and the world had simply moved on. She kept digging, chasing the word river like it was a thread she could pull. The Chicago River? Something near a dam? A flood warning? Nothing. She was about to give up when she noticed something strange. A minor news article from 3 months ago. A woman named Angela Reyes had vanished from the edge of the Marshford River, a smaller tributary about an hour outside of the city. She pulled her car over to answer a phone call, walked into the trees, and was never seen again. The article wasn't related, but it stuck with her. The Marshford River. It wasn't far, and the timestamp on the article? 2:14 p.m. Dana's skin prickled. She glanced at the clock. It was already late morning. Against every instinct she had, she threw on a hoodie, grabbed her keys, and headed for the door. She didn't know what she was looking for. Maybe she was just chasing a dream. But she couldn't sit back and do nothing. Not after hearing that voice. Not after watching a man who hadn't blinked in 5 years sit up and tell her when and where something was going to happen. By the time Dana reached the Marshford River, the sky had dimmed to a heavy slate gray. Clouds loomed overhead, threatening rain. She parked along a gravel shoulder near the trail where Angela Reyes had supposedly disappeared, her car swallowed now by overgrown brush and time. The river was quiet, still, a glassy surface framed by leafless trees and muddy banks. There was no one else around, no joggers, no hikers, not even a dog walker. Dana checked the time. 2:10 p.m. She had no idea what she was doing, what she expected to find, what she would even do if something happened. But she kept hearing Bellamy's voice in her head. "It's going to happen tomorrow. The river at 2:14 p.m. She wandered closer to the water's edge, careful not to slip in the soft, wet dirt. The silence made her ears ring. It was too quiet. No birds, no wind, just the ticking beat of her own pulse. Then, footsteps, crunching through leaves behind her. She spun around, heart in her throat. A man stood at the edge of the trees, late 20s, disoriented, soaking wet like he'd just climbed out of the river. His hospital wristband was still on his arm. He stared at her like she was the only real thing he'd seen in days.
"Do you work at Pinehurst?" he asked, blinking rapidly. I think I know you."
Dana took a cautious step forward. "What's your name?" He opened his mouth, confused, then looked down at his wristband.
Tyler Kemp."
That name hit Dana like a punch to the stomach. Tyler Kemp had been in room 4B, another long-term patient, nonverbal, vegetative, declared brain dead a month ago, transferred out after his family gave up hope. They'd pulled life support just 2 weeks ago. Dana had seen the chart herself. "You were a patient," she said slowly. "You were—"
"I was somewhere," Tyler said, his voice cracking. "It wasn't a dream. It was like walking underwater, endless hallways, people whispering. And then someone told me to follow the river, that if I made it to the river at the right time, I could come back."
He looked around, shivering, teeth chattering.
"What day is it?"
Dana didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Instead, she pulled out her phone, called emergency services, and wrapped her jacket around him as best she could. Tyler kept murmuring to himself, trying to piece together where he had been. She checked the time again. 2:14 p.m. The paramedics arrived quickly. Dana told them what little she could, that she'd found Tyler disoriented, soaking wet, and alone by the river. She didn't mention Pinehurst or room 4B, or that she knew exactly who he was. They asked no more than they had to, loaded him into the ambulance, and drove off with the kind of practiced efficiency that made everything seem normal. But nothing about this was normal. Dana sat in her car for almost 20 minutes afterward, engine off, keys in her lap, eyes unfocused. The name Tyler Kemp spun in her mind like a chant. Not just the name, but the look on his face, the raw awareness, the recognition. He'd seen something, been somewhere, and someone, or something, had given him a way back. Later that evening, back at Pinehurst, Dana returned to her shift. She told no one where she'd been. She didn't know what she'd even say. As part of her routine, she walked past room 4A. Thomas Bellamy was still there, motionless in his bed, eyes closed, machines humming beside him. Dana stepped inside and stood quietly at the edge of the room. "Mr. Bellamy," she said softly, "you were right." His expression didn't change. He didn't move. But for a split second, just one, she thought she saw the corner of his mouth twitch, the faintest hint of a smile. She never heard him speak again. Weeks passed, then months. Mr. Bellamy remained as he had been for years, unmoving, silent, unchanged. But Dana checked on him more frequently after that, not because she expected him to wake again, because she wondered what he might see next, and whether he'd tell her before it happened.
This summer, Instacart is bringing back your favorites from 1999 with prices from 1999. That means 90s prices on juice pouches that ought to be respected, 90s prices on box mac and cheese, and 90s prices on ham, cheese, and cracker lunches. Enjoy all those throwbacks and more at throwback prices, only through Instacart. $4.72 maximum discount per $10 of eligible items. Limit 3 offers per order. Expires September 5th while supplies last. Discount based on CPI comparison.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With AllTrails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today.
Okay, I'm gonna need a second.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So let me get this straight. Guy's in a coma for years, sits up, drops a cryptic warning, and then some other coma patient comes stumbling out of the woods like he just got respawned.
Pretty much.
You sure your coworker didn't just dream all this stuff after mainlining too much decaf?
Hey, I'm just telling you the story the way I heard it. She swore it happened. Swore it changed the way she looked at patients who weren't responsive. Like, maybe they know things? Maybe they just can't tell us.
And maybe they're psychic time travelers who moonlight as ferry operators for the recently almost dead.
You joke, but would it really surprise you at this point?
Not even a little. Honestly, it's a little less weird than the time a raccoon tried to sell me a used watch in the Clark Lake Tunnel.
Chicago is full of wonders.
You ever go check out a patient just a little too closely after a story like that?
Only the ones that make the machines beep weird when I walk in. Those are the ones to keep an eye on.
This is Illinois Medical District. This is a Blue Line train to downtown and O'Hare.
All right, see you tomorrow, Mason.
Unless a coma patient tells me I won't.
If that happens, definitely bring snacks.
Tales from the Blue Line by Auditory Anthology is written and produced by me, Keith Conrad. Your narrator is Darren Marlar. Be sure to check out Darren's award-winning paranormal podcast, Weird Darkness, available at weirddarkness.com and your podcast app of choice. If you have a story you'd like to contribute to the series, you can visit submissions.soundconceptmedia.com or just follow the link in the show notes. You can also support the show by subscribing to our new Substack at auditoryanthology.substack.com. By becoming a paid subscriber, you'll help keep the stories coming. You'll also get every episode completely commercial-free, and you can vote on which story will feature in upcoming episodes.
Did you know that foreign investors are quietly funding lawsuits in American courts through a practice called third-party litigation funding? Shadowy overseas funders are paying to sue American companies in our courts, and they don't pay a dime in U.S. taxes if there is an award or settlement. They profit tax-free from our legal system, while U.S. companies are tied up in court, and American families pay the price, to the tune of $5,000 a year. But there is a solution. A new proposal before Congress would close this loophole and ensure these foreign investors pay taxes, just like the actual plaintiffs have to. It's a common-sense move that discourages frivolous and abusive lawsuits and redirects resources back into American jobs, innovation, and growth. Only President Trump and congressional Republicans can deliver this win for America and hold these foreign investors accountable. Contact your lawmakers today and demand they take a stand to end foreign-funded litigation abuse.
Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong?, a new podcast that explores the all-too-human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit, credible experts. Doctors, PhDs, all-around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.